Hey, Shalom, Mashallah, I want to start off with by giving all praise to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushua, Ba'ashem, Kakadash, double honors, the apostles of great millstone, and honors you brothers doing the work of the Most High in truth and in sincerity. Yahweh, that's the raw name of whom the world ignorantly calls God, Jehovah, or Yahweh. His raw name is Yahweh, and the Son's true name is Yahweh Shai. And when we pray Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba meaning in, Her meaning then, Sham meaning name. So Yahweh in the name of Yahweh Shai. So quick one, I'd been seeing all day like loads of different articles for the UK in terms of like increases in price and this, that and the other. And I also saw this one from the New York Times in regards to the US, as rents in the US rose nearly everywhere in 2021. Here's where they landed in January 2022. And you're seeing Boston, Knoxville, Tennessee, Orlando, Florida, Scottsdale, Arizona, and Fresno, California, all increasing 1 year a change of 27 and 28% right now. For most people, that wages aren't increasing 27, 28%. Okay. And so what you're basically saying is, people are gonna be through. Right now, this I'm pretty sure is when moving into new places, whether they increase price. I don't know what the caps are in the states, or of like monthly price of annual contract price increases. I know here in the UK they try to keep it low, but I don't believe there's anything that stops them from doubling your rent on the next contract or something like that. I don't believe there is. Correct me if I'm mistaken. But over here in the UK, then also seeing this as Bank of England warns of a record slide in living standards as it hikes interest rates amidst surging inflation. Okay, and this is what this whole pestilence that has been going on around the whole world. This is what it was aim what its aim was to achieve. Okay, to achieve this, what was that saying? You shall own nothing and be happy. Okay, that's why they're pushing for your Ubers, right? So that you haven't got a car, right? You will own nothing and you'll be happy. That's the new model that people are going to be living under, right? So quality of standard of living, right, is going to go down, man. Okay, it says inflation to peak at 7.25%, right? Then you also have this is all at the same time, mind you, right? Then you have energy bills. Rishi Sunak, who's the Chancellor of the Exchequer, right? He basically is in charge of how the government spends money here in the UK. Okay, so energy bills. Rishi Sunak gives one-off repayable £200 discount to households, right? Because it's so through, right, that they're basically having to give people what's the word I'm looking for? People rebates. Is that the word? I don't know, but basically give people back money, right? Then also many to get additional support from £150 rebate on council tax, but no help for businesses amid rising costs. So if the businesses aren't getting any help, guess what? They're gonna shut. We're gonna get that in the scriptures as well, right? And you think about this council tax thing. Well, here in the UK, council tax basically, officially speaking, used for your local amenities, like, if I'm not mistaken, like bins and things like that. Now, if they're getting less money, it's either the government is subsidizing it, so then that's more debt, right? And we can get that in the precepts as well. This is Habakkuk 2:6. Shall not these take up a parable against him and a taunting proverb against him, and say, woe to him that increaseth that which is not his, right? Which is, this is Esau's MO in general, right? It says, how long? And to him that ladeth himself with thick clay, and that word there, clay, means debt, right? And when you look at America primarily, man, that country's in, was it like 30? Oh, that was another thing that happened recently this week. How in America they have what $30 trillion worth of debt now, something like that, something ridiculous. Right, a lot of that has been in the last two years, 2 years. A big okay. They've printed a lot of money in the last 2 years. Let's leave it at that, because I forget exactly off the top of my head. Okay, but that thick clay is going into that debt. So going back to this, is either right that the debt, right, is going to increase even more, right, or services are going to be cut, right? Essential maintenance isn't going to be there. Or another thing is, or the transport network is in London, right? They're talking about they're in 1.5 billion pounds worth of debt, right? Meaning they're saying they're going to have to, may have to cut infrastructure products on roads and tunnels and this, that, and the other. They're definitely saying that they're going to have to close some tunnels, cut, a metro route, what we call here the tube, right? They're talking about we're going to have to cut buses, right? All of these things because of this is the season. This is the season to basically pull things down. So you read Ecclesiastes, the third chapter. It speaks about a time to build and a time to pull down, and we're in a time of pulling down. Okay. I wanted to get So Isaiah 14:1, right? It says, "Thy pomp is brought down to the grave, and the nose of thy vials, right? The worm is spread under thee, and the worms cover thee," right? So this worm representing corrosion, right? Corrosion, right? When you look at America, for instance, right, that infrastructure is through, right? You had it you had it conveniently that when Biden was supposed to go to some state, right, and just before he arrived, he had to build a bridge collapse, right? That those are those worms spread under, spread under the man, right? Esau's system is through, okay. So continue on. Yeah, that's what's going on here, right? And the reason why they're gonna and the reason why they're talking about having to do this discount is because of this, right? It says British households face a record 54% energy bill rise as price cap is raised, right? So imagine, let's say you're paying like £100, right? Just easy numbers, right? £100. You're gonna have to pay over, now you're gonna have to pay £154, right? So it says so the energy regulator Ofgem, right, lifted the maximum rate that suppliers can charge for an average dual fuel energy tariff by 693 to reflect the fourfold increase in energy market prices over the last year. The hike means that 22 million households which pay by direct debit will face an average bill of 1971 a year, right? So it basically says will on average face a steeper hike of £708, right, and an annual bill. So that's what 700 over 12. That's over £50 a month more. Okay, that's insane. And people, that's why we read in the other article, right? Warns of a record slide in living standards. Oh, because another thing on top of this is national insurance is going to be increasing as well. So here in the UK, we pay income tax, right? So I think the base rate of income tax is 20%, right? And it gets a bit complicated because your first £10,000 a year is tax free. It's a bit over 10, but just for easy numbers, your first £10,000 is tax free, and then your second 10,000, and then it's from there you get taxed at 20%, right? So, for instance, if you earn 20,000 a year, you pay 20% on 10,000 because your 10,000 is tax free, and then they do the same at at the 50,000 mark where your anything over 50,000 is taxed at 50%, etc., etc. But then we also have national insurance, which I believe is somewhat, I believe is somewhat similar to social security, right? But your national insurance here is being increased as well. So all of these things, all of the prices of these things are being raised. So this is Ecclesiastes 12 and 3, right? It says, "In the day when the keepers of the house shall tremble, and the strong men shall bow themselves, and the grinders cease because they are few, and those that look out the windows be darkened." This is going into, the fact that you're going to have jobs going. Okay, you're going to have, people having to, shut their businesses and this that, and the other. Like we read earlier on that businesses weren't going to get any help. So guess what? They're going to shut. And when they shut, guess what? The people that work for them, they're going to lose their jobs, right? And then you basically then going to end up in a situation where you get a lot of people. It depends on how Esau wants to play the market, because right now he's playing the market such that a lot of people are leaving their jobs and they ain't necessarily getting new ones. Ain't necessarily, okay. So I think last month, end of January, they basically released a report saying they had expected to create 200,000 jobs, but really they lost minus 300,000 jobs. And these are the official figures. We all know that the real numbers are going to be significantly higher than that, right? And it says, and those that look out the windows be dark, and that's going into your financial forecasters, right? Now your non-mainstream ones, they've been telling you that this place is through, okay? And now we're seeing it manifest, just like how our teachers and apostles have been saying that this kingdom is through, right? This financial system is through, and once again, the current pestilence really helped bring that forward, okay? So that's why we're hopeful that this could very well be the year wherein the Lord brings this place down and destroys this place. Okay, it says, and the door shall be shut in the streets, right? So once again, you're not going to have any, any of these jobs, right, or any of these shops, which also means jobs. Okay, it says, when the sound of the grinding is low, and he shall rise up at the voice of the bird, and all the daughters of music shall be brought low, right? When I also get this is Second Ezra's 6:22. It says, and suddenly shall the sown places appear unsown, the full storehouses shall suddenly be found empty. Right? It says, and the trumpet shall, so you look at your different shops, right? Your or whatever, what have you. People are so accustomed here in the West to being able to just go to the shop and being able to find stuff. Now, the only time that they didn't was because of the pestilence. But what are people going to say? They're going to be like, oh, that was just one off. That was just a one off. People just panic buying, right? But to actually have situations where people aren't genuinely going to have anything, they don't know what it's like. Okay, so it's going to hit them unawares. Right, and the trumpet shall give a sound, which when every man heareth, they shall be suddenly afraid. At that time shall friends fight one against another like enemies, and the earth shall stand in fear with those that dwell therein, and the springs of the fountain shall stand still, and in 3 hours they shall not run. Right, so at the time shall friends fight one against another like enemies, right? So all of this happy neighbors, friendly, this, that, and the other, the Lord's gonna take that away, right? Because what does the scripture say? Because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold, right? Iniquity abounds in this world, and when you actually listen to these people, how they are, how they talk, right? They hate each other, all right. Everyone's trying to one up on each other, okay. So yeah, like I said, just a few, a few things here, just basically showing just how through, right, this kingdom is, okay. So yeah, as always, Lord's all those edifying. Until next time, we say shalom.